So UFC Fight Night Vegas 45, Lewis versus Daukaus just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main events, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, and my overall event recap as well, because wow, what a way to end the year, an amazing card, start to finish. Let's start straight away with the early prelim opener of Jourdain Leavitt versus Matt Sayles. Very interesting first round, Jourdain Leavitt getting a couple of takedowns, taking some big shots on the feet though, but he gets a couple of good submission attempts, but Matt Sayles actually showed that he has improved his takedown defense, has improved his ground game. He scrambled a lot in the first round, ended up on top at one point in his own right as well, but again, Jourdain Leavitt just kept scrambling, kept shooting for takedowns, kept trying to end up on top, landing a couple of good shots here and there, won himself the first round 10-9 in my opinion, with more control time, more total strikes, and also a lot more submission attempts as well. And in the second round, goes out there again, almost gets submitted, but gets out of it, doesn't almost get submitted, but Matt Sayles goes for a sub, Leavitt gets out of it, ends up on the bottom, sort of moving his way around to try and get back up into another takedown, and in the way of doing this, he gets a triangle, an inverted triangle choke. I didn't even know that this was going to be a finishing move for Jourdain Leavitt, but he put him in an inverted triangle. I thought this was just a setup, maybe the next move for him, maybe he'd try and end up on top or something like that, but no, that inverted triangle choke was in like crazy. This wasn't like a regular one either, where they go over the top of you, and you can see their face during it. He did it from like the side angle and stuff like that. Great submission win for Jourdain Leavitt, and I hope he got a performance bonus for it, because you don't see that stuff often. I believe the third submission via inverted triangle in UFC history. The Monkey King gets it done, Jourdain Leavitt. I picked him to win by sub. He got it done by sub. Good win by Jourdain Leavitt. Moving on up the card, Don'Tale Mayes versus Josh Parisian. Don'Tale Mayes got the job done by TKO to ground and pound in the third round. I picked him to win this one by TKO. I did not pick him to win this one by completely ragdolling Josh Parisian. I thought he'd go out there, land a couple of good shots on the feet, and then Travis Brown elbow Josh Parisian for a finish, but no. He went out there and showed a much more improved grappling game that we haven't seen from Don'Tale Mayes yet, and he just looks really good. And how good is Ciryl Gane for destroying this guy over 3 rounds? I mean, that seems to be a theme tonight as well. How good is Ciryl Gane? We'll get to the main event in a second. But either way, Don'Tale Mayes, good performance. Had his moments here and there. Won the matchup on the feet as long as it lasted. Parisian had some good moments here and there. But overall, Josh Parisian just didn't have any takedown defense whatsoever. And he just accepted bottom position for the majority of this fight. And let's be real, he barely trains. There's no way this guy trains. I've never seen someone in that kind of shape before. Like, that kind of shape is inexcusable to me. It's not like there's muscles underneath it. Like with Mark Hunt, he's a chubby guy, but you can see that he's got strength underneath it and solid muscle underneath it. But for a guy like Josh Parisian, like, there's no muscle there. Do a fucking push-up in the build-up and you'll have some strength for these takedown moments. But Don'Tale Mayes just ragdolled him, ended up on top multiple times. Almost finished him in the second round, I believe it was, by TKO with those crucifix elbows. And in the third round, he got the job done there instead. I'm glad that he went for the finish at the end of the third. Otherwise, it would have been quite an uneventful matchup where he just laid on top the entire time, but he went for the finish. He got the finish. 117 total strikes to 24. Tells the tale of the fight. And his grappling was just really good against Parisian, and Parisian can't stuff a takedown to save his fucking life. So, good job by Don'Tale Mayes. Got the job done, went to the body at range on the feet, and found his moments on the ground to get the crucifix TKO in round 3. Good job by Don'Tale Mayes. I picked him and he got it done. 2-0 so far. Moving on up the card, Raquel Pennington versus Macy Chiasson. I picked Raquel Pennington to win this one by decision. She ended up getting it done by submission in the second round. I thought she won the first round. Chiasson got a takedown at the end of the first that arguably could give her that round though. So I understand if you want to go with Chiasson in the first round. Got a takedown at the end in a close round, but then again, I thought Pennington was the only one landing good shots on the feet. The stats were to her, 24-15 on significant strikes. Round 2, again, Pennington started to dominate. She just seemed to be the more lesbian of the two of them, landing the bigger shots, cracking Chiasson over the head a couple of times, and making her feel that fear, like I could get KO'd here. Got tagged a bunch of times, shot for a bad takedown, got dash choked, or not even dash choked, she got that front choked, right? Guillotine choking clinch, they're calling it. But it was more of like a 10-figure choke. Front choke, ninja choke, however you want to call it, Arnold Allen choke, however you want to say it is. She got that submission over Macy Chiasson. I didn't think she would tap to it because there's so many ways to escape that fucking position, but she tapped to it. So there you go. They were tapping quick tonight. I thought that Leavitt submission wasn't in good, and he tapped to that one as well. But either way, Chiasson Could have escaped it, could have tried literally any movement, and it would have bettered her position on the submission, because you shouldn't be getting choked out by that, but she just stayed on her knees. I think mainly it was her getting beaten up that finished this fight. Not so much the submission. The submission gave her an excusable out of this fight, because she was getting beaten up, getting tagged on the feet a bunch of times, getting hurt to the body a couple of times as well. So yeah, Pennington won by second round submission. Good win by her. I picked her as well. That's 3-0. Moving on up the card, Charles Jourdain versus Andre Ewell. Wow. Gotta give it to Charles Jourdain. Amazing performance. Some judges had it 30-26. Another had it 30-27. One had it 29-27. I don't know what round they gave to Andre Ewell. The first round was pretty close, but it was very clearly Charles Jourdain in that first round, landing all of the better shots. Outlanded Andre Ewell in the first round, 25-23. And that's when it sort of was a bit slower, this fight. It was a very slow fight early on. Jourdain went out there, did what literally every opponent of Andre Ewell does early on. Chop at those legs. Andre Ewell has one of the widest stances in MMA. Chop those legs down. Eventually, Andre Ewell couldn't go in his regular stance. Had to switch it up the other way with his right leg forward into the southpaw position. Couldn't really fight as well from there either. So Jourdain just kept chopping at the legs. Kept going to the body. Kept landing big shots upstairs as well. Took his time in the first round. Won the first round very clearly. And just dominated the second and third really, really badly. Yeah. Really, really good win from Charles Jourdain. Second round arguably could be a 10-8 round. Certain moments in the round he's landing big shots. I'll talk about the finish as well, by the way. That was the most amazing thing I've seen maybe in a long time. Should have been counted as a finish, in my opinion. But Andre Ewell, Charles Jourdain, great one in the second round. Both guys landing good shots early, but then again, Charles Jourdain just getting the better of things, beating him up against the cage. Got him to the ground eventually in the second round as well and started beating on him there as well. Rocked him at one point all over the place, and Ewell was sort of staggering around all over the place trying to get his bearings under him, but Jourdain kept it on him, kept landing big shots, kept going to the body as well in the close range moments against the cage, which was good to see. That was the last fight of his contract, so I hope they re-sign him. He's definitely worth it. Always puts on an entertaining fights. I'll watch him on the prelims anytime, as long as he eventually moves up their career. But he's only 27. Or he might be 26. I think he's only 26, and he's only just turned 26. So he's got a long time left in his career, and he looked good in this one. Dominated Andre Ewell, easily won the second and third round, and at the end of the third round, and here's what I want to talk about. First of all, in the second, he rocked him to a point where Ewell went down, so I guess you can call it a 10-8 round, and he started landing big shots there. Round 3, Ewell came out good early on, eventually got leg kicked a bunch of times, had to switch stances again, got body kicked a couple of times as well. Head kicks were landing here and there in the third round too. More big shots to the body, to the head from Charles Jourdain, chasing down Andre Ewell. Then at the end of the third round, they're landing big shots on each other, both of them. Jourdain screaming at him, whatever he did to him, I can't even remember what it was, I couldn't even hear it at the time. And then he straight up, no fucking joke, he must have screamed, "This is Sparta," because I know they call it a front kick, but this was a Sparta kick. I've seen many front kicks before. This one had a Spartan rage behind it, okay? Jourdain Sparta kicked Ewell in the face at the end of the third round, smashed him to the canvas backwards with it. It should have been counted as a finish, but the bell went off, the fight was over, they called it off, it was a decision win for Charles Jourdain, but Andre Ewell was basically out of it at the end of that third round, and it would have been a finish if not a decision, which it went to eventually, but yeah. Jourdain mixed it up better, landed great leg kicks of his own, great body shots, eventually found the headshots afterwards rather than headhunting, which is something that he did in his last few fights, especially against Julian Erosa. So yeah, good to see Jourdain be a bit more patient, a bit more calculated, and get the win over Andre Ewell in spectacular fashion. That kick at the end, like, he basically got a finish. That's the finish. You know what I mean? The Sparta kick right to the face of Andre Ewell. The best part was, he screamed at Ewell. Ewell went like this. Come on then, like egging him on to do something, and he literally got fucking punted into the side of the cage. It was brutal from Charles Jourdain. Great win by him. I picked him to win too. Moving on up the card, Melissa Gatto versus Sijara Eubanks. I picked Melissa Gatto to win this one as an underdog. She won this one as an underdog against Sijara Eubanks. It wasn't looking too good in the early rounds for me though, because although Eubanks wasn't really doing too much, she was definitely winning the fight in the early rounds. She outlanded Melissa Gatto in the first, but Melissa Gatto had better moments on bottom, landing good shots. and also doing some like submission attempts on the bottom as well, landing more total strikes, having a couple of close armbar attempts. I actually picked her to win by armbar from on bottom in the first round, but again, Eubanks, no idea why she was going to the ground with Gatto, who's a jiu-jitsu expert. Eventually went to the ground in the second round with Gatto. You could see that she was starting to slow down in that fight as well. Gatto got the reversal, ended up on top, landed a bunch of good shots towards the end of the second round, won herself the second round in my opinion, making it 1-1 going into the third. Then the third round happens, same thing again, a lot of stalling, a lot of good moments here and there. Both girls land a couple of shots each. Then Melissa Gatto lands that brutal front kick to the body, right on the gut, as Eubanks is reaching over for a right hand as well, while she's already gassed too. Down goes Sijara Eubanks, and then Gatto tries to escape the finish, and gets fucking dragged back into it, because Eubanks would not let go of her leg for the life of her. So yeah, Melissa Gatto gets this one done, and plus it's good that she did, because Eubanks missed weight, and also cut her from the UFC anyway because she has a shit record. And she missed weight. This is not the first time she's missed weight. Let's get Melissa Gatto up the rankings, and Eubanks gone from the promotion. Cut that bitch. Moving on, up the card. Undefeated so far, we move on to Justin Tafa versus Harry Hunsucker. Big fight on the card as well. KO in the first round for Justin Tafa. It was a weird KO, but I called him to win this one by KO. I thought it would happen later on in the fight, but Hunsucker landed a couple of decent shots early on, but then Tafa would just land a couple of decent shots back, and that was about it, really. Hunsucker went for a submission attempt at one point, but Tafa was okay with it. Ended up on top for a certain amount of time, or with control time for a certain amount of time. Hunsucker worked his way back up, tried his quick hands again, but Tafa landed a big one on his jaw that rocked him, and then the head kick was just sort of like it just sent him to the canvas. He was already rocked and about to be finished by a couple of big shots, but the head kick just sort of bounced off his guard, sent his forearms into his face, and jolted his head backwards, and down goes Harry Hunsucker. Brutal KO. Good win by Justin Tafa, and I'll mention this as well. This fucking needed that win, because otherwise he would have definitely been cut by the UFC. I do not see the UFC re-signing this guy if he doesn't get an impressive win, because he's got a shit record. He missed the fucking heavyweight limit, which is disgraceful. You should not be doing that, especially when you're a guy like Tafa. He's not Ngannou, he's just a fat slob. Either way, Tafa gets a first round KO, brutal win, and I like it. I liked his call out afterwards as well against Carlos Felipe. Let's run that one back. I thought that he beat Carlos Felipe the first time, but it was a very close fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that one ran back, so good one. He wants on the Adesanya card in February. Let's make it happen. Good win by Tafa. Make the fucking heavyweight limit, you fat shit. Moving on up the card. Gerald Meerschaert versus Dustin Stoltzfus. I picked Gerald Meerschaert to win by third round submission. I said guillotine. He won by third round submission, but he won it by rear naked choke. I got a clean sweep on the prelims. Every single fight correct. Very proud of myself. And then Gerald Meerschaert gets it done again. Not much to talk about in the first two rounds. Both guys landing a couple of good shots. Meerschaert gets to take down at the start of the first. Has some moments here and there. The first round was actually pretty close, but I gave it to Dustin Stoltzfus because he landed more total strikes when he was on top, whereas Meerschaert was going for submission attempts, which aren't worth as much in a damage-based scoring era. So Meerschaert would go for the takedown, end up on top, have some control time. Then Stoltzfus would reverse, end up on top himself, but do better with that position, landing some good total strikes. Then in the second round, more of Stoltzfus just dominating, staying on top, landing more total strikes. A bunch of control time in the second round, I feel like about 4 minutes. Ended up on top of Meerschaert and just did not give up. Meerschaert started to scramble here and there, but he looked like he was starting to slow down. Had some decent moments on the feet here and there, but looked very sloppy, like he was about to be KO'd. But Stoltzfus didn't really have too much energy himself. So in the third round, both guys very sloppy. Both guys enter in a grappling exchange. Stoltzfus gets Meerschaert down, but this time, and here's where I credit Meerschaert for being the third round savage that he is. He comes alive on the ground, scrambles. Let me get my knees under me, let me get back up to my feet, let me roll over, let me escape this position. I ain't fucking losing this one in no way whatsoever. I just need a good position to get myself back in this fight. He hip escapes from out from under bottom, gets the positional control, almost takes the back, rolls over Dustin Stoltzfus, does take the back on the ground, rolls him over, puts in the rear naked choke, and Meerschaert GM3. The free is the charm. The third round's the charm. And he gets it done by third round submission again. I believe he's had so many of these third round subs in his career. Second round sub against Muradov. First round against Verbinski. Third round against Jourdain win. Third round against Trevin Giles. I mean, he's got a knack for getting third-round submissions, and I really like his style as well. So, good win from Gerald Meerschaert. He's now on a 3-fight win streak since losing to Khamzat Chimaev and Ian Heinisch by first-round KO. And he's turned around his career, so good for him. I don't know who got a performance bonus. Did he get a performance bonus tonight? Who got the performance bonuses? Gatto got it. She's a woman. She's brave. She's stunning. Swanson got it. Lemos Hill fight of the night. I don't like that at all. They just feel bad that Hill got robbed, but we'll get to that in a second. Moving on, up the card. Mateusz Gamrot versus Diego Ferreira. Good fight on the next fight up. No, wait. Cub Swanson versus Darren Elkins. The opener of the main card. I need to talk about this fucking one. Cub Swanson got a performance bonus. I believe he earned something like $270,000. That's crazy. Good for Cub Swanson, making some money before Christmas. Dominated Darren Elkins. What can I say? He was just too good. Too clean. Landed a bunch of good jabs early on. Landed like a lunging, snapping right hand in midair on Darren Elkins at one point as well that rocked him backwards. Then Elkins was rocked and Cub Swanson went for the kill. Elkins tried to trade in the clinch back and forth, but Cub Swanson was just too good. Dip dived and moved out of the way. Great head movement. Great head movement shown in the entire fight as well. And yeah, Cub Swanson moved out of the way of the big shots, landed his bigger ones back at Darren Elkins. Elkins falls down, stumbles backwards, he's rocked all over the place. He shoots towards the cage on a takedown and there's no one there. Very badly hurt, gets back up, gets wheel kicked, brushed with the toes over the face, hurts him a little bit, then he gets cracked with a left hook as he tries to go for the clinch, face plants to the canvas. I don't mind the stoppage from Herb Dean. We don't need to see Darren Elkins get flatline KO'd. I know that he can survive certain situations, but this is the first round, immediately into it pretty much. I didn't see him surviving that one. And also, what happened to Darren Elkins after the KO loss justified Herb Dean stepping in. If Darren Elkins would have popped right back up and went, what? Then you could argue that maybe it was a bad stoppage. But he tried to get back up. He stumbled forwards. He tried again. He face planted the canvas. Like, he was really badly hurt. Good stoppage by Herb Dean. Cub Swanson gets it done and looks better than ever. I'd like to see him versus like a Ryan Hall next. Early next year. March or April. Let's make it happen. Good matchup and good win from Cub Swanson. Looking better than ever. The best performance of his career. And finishing Darren Elkins, which is tough to do. Moving on up the card. Mateusz Gamrot versus Diego Ferreira. I went with Mateusz Gamrot here. I gave him the first round. I thought he landed better shots on the feet. A couple of good more total strikes in the clinch as well in certain moments. And a couple of ground and pound shots here and there on the ground. He got a couple of takedowns in the first round. I believe 3 takedowns in that first round. Ended up on top a bunch of times. Landing a couple of total strikes each time to make sure he was scoring some points. And then just completely disengaging from the grappling of Diego Ferreira. Because again, Diego Ferreira's got some really nasty grappling. It keeps being shown. No one can really get past his guard. He's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu. But Mateusz Gamrot was putting the threat of the takedown in his mind. It didn't matter if he wasn't going to go for any great position. He just got the takedown, got back up, landed a couple of decent shots, and barely secured himself that first round by landing better shots on the feet. Then, in the second round, Ferreira starts doing really good. I'll be honest. He starts landing some good shots, getting some momentum back. It looks like Gamrot's slowing down a bit because he's using all of this energy to get some takedowns and he's not really settling in top position or half guard and just being able to rest there. He's getting immediately popped back up to fight on the feet again. Plus, Diego Ferreira was starting to find his range with that front kick to the body and a couple of good leg kicks as well on Mateusz. And he started to do quite well in the second round, but then Mateusz switches it up. Lands a big shot on the chin. Ferreira's starting to slow down as well. Gamrot adjusts his takedown, doesn't go for the double leg to end up in full guard. Ends up taking the back from it, taking him down against the cage, kneeing the thigh or kneeing the rib from behind. And apparently that broke the rib of Diego Ferreira. And he called off the fight. Very interesting. Gamrot didn't even realise that he called off the fight, so he even went for a rear naked choke afterwards just to make sure. But yeah, I guess it was broken ribs. It's the only thing I can justify it as. I don't see that just as pain or to the liver or anything like that. It was to the liver, so you can actually be hurt by that. But he didn't hunch over and not move on the ground for a while afterwards. He looked like he'd had his ribs broken. He felt a bad pop, and he just thought, fuck this, I'm not having my lungs punctured here. Gamrot's just broken my fucking ribs. So Gamrot gets the job done. TKO in the second round from a knee to the body. Very unorthodox finish, but either way, Gamrot moves on takes out one of his toughest style matchups in his division and moves on up the division and calls out Michael Chandler, which could happen. I don't believe it will, but I don't mind Chandler's chances. I don't mind Gamrot's chances. Gamrot is definitely the future of the lightweight division and earned that with a big finish over Diego Ferreira, who Dariush took to a split decision. So good for him, good for Gamrot. Amazing performance against Ferreira. Moving on up the card, Ricky Simón versus Raphael Assuncao. I went with Ricky Simón. I thought he'd win this one by decision. I thought it'd be very close. I thought this was a nightmare-style matchup for him, but no. Assuncao landed a couple of good leg kicks early, but other than that, it was all Ricky Simón. Landing good shots on the feet, setting up his takedowns well. I mean, it's not just size. Simón is a weight bully. He's a giant guy for the division, and he grapples, which is never good to see. But he's got great skill. He's got really good time double legs, really good setups for his takedowns as well. He picked up Assuncao a couple of times, put him down nicely, got out of guillotine positions. He was very smart about what he did. He didn't just recklessly slam Assuncao into a guillotine or anything like that. But Ricky Simón, great performance. First round, he's on top of Assuncao, landing total strikes and significant strikes. A couple of big elbows here and there. More total strikes to the head as they're in the clinch and getting up against the cage. Out grapples him for the first round. Second round occurs. Goes for the takedown again. Can't quite get the takedown in the second round. Even still, he's doing a bit better on the feet now than he was before. Both guys land some good shots. And then Ricky Simón is a genius in the way that he does this, because he fakes the takedown with a level change. Bob, like he's going to shoot a takedown. Assuncao's hands come down, okay? Then Assuncao realizes, oh wait, he's throwing at me because Simón's throwing a combination. Then his hands come back up again. Then Assuncao, and this is crazy to see him do this, not Assuncao, then Simón fakes like a right overhand and like loops it underneath and throws an uppercut that lands flush on Assuncao and puts him down. Then a left hook afterwards as Assuncao's down, flattens him backwards. A couple more follow-up shots are landed as well. And Ricky Simón gets it done by brutal KO, second round fashion. I mean, really, really good stuff. Really good stuff from Ricky Simón. He called out Sean O'Malley, but I don't think he'll get that matchup because why would O'Malley take on a grappler if he has a choice? He obviously won't. But if Simón does want a matchup, Merab Dvalishvili also, yeah. Bisping, can you shut the fuck up in post-fight interviews? We get it, dude. You're the trash talker. Like, you forgot that he beat ranked opponents, and he called you out on it. Very playfully, by the way. Like, very, like, oh, you know, I don't mean to call you out, Bisping, but I have actually beat some ranked opponents, but that's okay. Because he beat Merab Dvalishvili. And Bisping goes, oh, yeah, well, you aren't fucking ranked, are you? Like, alright, dude. Chill the fuck out, please. Like, why are you so emotionally having to snap back at a fighter? He just won a biggest fight of his career, and you've got to fucking shut him down. He did this before to another fighter, but I can't remember who it was. Obviously, Covington after his win, but that time he wasn't doing the post-fight speeches. But, oh, you almost got knocked out. That's what he said to Paddy Pimblett, I believe. He just has to have these little fucking one-liners and shut people down. Like, the show ain't about you. Just be a fucking voice and ask the questions. Ain't about you. It ain't a fucking podcast where you get your jokes in. Let the guy have his moment. It's his career. And you're jumping in, shutting down what he's saying. Like, he beat ranked opponents. You didn't do your research. I feel like these commentators are getting a bit fucking sensitive about that. Being found out for the fucking frauds and lazy fucks that they are. Moving on up the card. Amanda Lemos versus Angela Hill. Robbery. I picked Angela Hill to win this one after being dropped in the first round. I said she would get dropped in the first round and win the second and third round and make a comeback win, 29-28. That's exactly what she did, and they took it from her again. Angela Hill has been robbed against Michelle Waterson, robbed against fucking Claudia Gadelha, and now she's been robbed against Amanda Lemos. 30-27 was one of the scorecards. That's a pre-written scorecard. There's no other way around that. It's a pre-written scorecard. End of discussion. That's a fucking pre-written scorecard. Like, how do you score that 30-27? Round 2 is clearly Angela Hill. Round 3, she barely did enough at the end to win herself round 3. But they didn't give her round 3 because Amanda Lemos is the younger girl. She hasn't lost to the top girls the way that Angela Hill has. So she's better to move on and she's more marketable because of her KO finishes. I get it, but Angela Hill deserved that win, whether you like her or not. Lemos had a good front kick in the first round, rocked Angela Hill badly, landed a couple of good shots, started swinging crazy on the ground, but then Angela Hill got a reversal, ended up on top and did enough damage to make sure that it wasn't a 10-8 round in that first round. Then, in the second round, the stats showed up. Hill basically pushed her against the cage and landed knees to the body and thigh, and punches in the clinch, and shots at range as well, where she actually rocked Lemos a couple of times. Then, the stats showed up at the start of round 3 that the round 2 strike stats were 11 to Lemos and 10 to Angela Hill. 11 to Lemos, 10 to Angela Hill. The real strike stats were 11 to Lemos and 21 to Angela Hill. They had no fucking problem counting Lemos' strikes, 11 for 11, but somehow missed over half of Angela Hill's. Rigged fucking fight. They knew who they wanted to win. 30-27 scorecard proves it. Rigged stats in the middle of the fight proves it as well. You can't fucking win with this promotion. They just rigged the fucking scorecards based on who they want to win. I don't fucking understand. Third round, Hill won. Might have actually landed a good spinning elbow. Didn't look like it landed flush, but even still, I thought the judges would think, you know what? She spun, landed on a part of Lemos' body and knocked her to the canvas, regardless if it was the chin or not. I think it was at the neck, shoulder area, but even still, spinning elbow, down goes Lemos. And she landed good shots at the end of the third as well, despite being outstruck. She landed more total strikes in the third, better knees to the body in the clinch. She was more active in the clinch as well. More control time. I just don't know how she lost. Moving on. Robbery. Moving on up the card. Belal Muhammad versus Stephen Thompson. Oh, God. He got Burns, but he got fucking worse than Burns. Belal Muhammad, I didn't see this one coming. It's the only fight on the card I predicted wrong. I literally believed that Belal had no chance against Wonderboy. Smaller cage definitely made a factor, for sure, because Wonderboy couldn't move around as much. But again, on the feet, Wonderboy was destroying Belal Muhammad, of course, landing the bigger shots, completely tooling him apart on the feet, just destroying him. Belal had no answer on the feet for anything, looked like an absolute clown. Shot a takedown, got it stuffed early on, got a couple of them stuffed early on, but then eventually Belal got a good takedown, ended up on top, took the back of Wonderboy, landed some big shots at the end of the first round. Could have been stopped if Wonderboy wasn't defending well, because he just wasn't scrambling. He was just laying there, taking punishment from Belal Muhammad. Muhammad then rained down back of the head shots over and over again at the end of the first round, because Wonderboy is just such an NMF that everyone who takes him on has to rain down back of the head shots. I don't know why, but even still, it could have been a 10-8 round in the first for Muhammad. Could have been a 10-9 round, but I said it was a 10-8 round. Round 2, Muhammad wins it again, lands big shots throughout the second round and dominates the entire time. Takes his back, one hook in, half guard camping on top, landing big shots of total strikes. Wins second round, maybe 10-8. Could have been a 10-9, no, in the second. Maybe there wasn't a 10-8. Round 3, takes him down again. Wonderboy had no fucking takedown defense. None. He's probably low T right now in his career. Maybe torn an ACL or something, because, man, Belal's easiest bout of his career so far has been against Wonderboy. How does that make any fucking sense? Belal, and I came into this fight under the opinion, Belal Muhammad couldn't get down Leon Edwards. Couldn't get down Diego Lima. Diego Lima? Wonderboy, up your fucking game. What's going on? Couldn't get down Diego Lima. Couldn't get down Lyman Good and keep him there. Only could get down Takashi Sato once he gassed him out as the fight went on. Only could get down Millender in the third round after having a bunch of takedowns stuffed early on. Couldn't get down Jeff Neal. And, like, he can just ragdoll Wonderboy like it's nothing. Burns wrote the blueprint. Belal followed it. Got the win. He's not going to get a title shot. He's not really that good, but apparently Wonderboy just can't fucking grapple for shit, so any grappler beats Wonderboy. I'd like to see Sean Brady versus Belal. I'd actually pick Belal to win that one, because he's got equally as capable grappling, and also he has better volume and cardio, and he'd probably win it on the feet as long as it lasted, so that's the only winnable matchup I can see him taking next. Good win by Belal Muhammad. Yeah. Didn't see it coming, but then again, it's just another Ali Abdulaziz signed fighter who has very, very close fights against guys outside the rankings, and then all of a sudden starts dominating top competition whilst getting acne all over his back that I've never seen before, and acne all over his abs, which I've never seen before. Weird, innit, how that just happens. Belal just gets way more shredded than usual, acne all over his stomach, acne all over his shoulders, and then just destroys the top competition, the easiest in his career. Very interesting. Same with Usman. Tough fight against Strickland, pretty competitive, not too dominant. Tough fight against Leon Edwards, not crazy dominant, pretty competitive. Tough fight against Emil Meek, not too dominant, pretty competitive. Demolishes top competition opponents at the same time as getting acne all over his back and abs. But you know, I've never seen those spots on I've never seen those spots on Muhammad's abs before. But for this fight, he has spots all over his abs. Dominates Wonderboy. Good for him. Ali Abdelaziz. Telling you, something's going on with that horned fucking menace. Moving on to the main event. Derrick Lewis versus Chris Daukaus. I've already done a full fight reaction to this. Derrick Lewis gets the job done by first round KO. I picked him to win. Daukaus just didn't get respect early, and if you don't do that against Lewis, he's going to walk right through you, land those big shots, and that's what happened. Daukaus had a couple of good leg kicks, but eventually Lewis landed the big shots in close. It's actually exactly the shots that I said he would land in the last minute detailed predictions. If you go and look at the thumbnail of Lewis, of my last minute detailed predictions, it's basically exactly the same punch as the shot that he eventually finished Chris Daukaus with. Put him out cold, finished him off against a cage. Good stoppage by Herb Dean, stopping Daukaus from taking too much damage, and he got the job done by first round KO. Should fight Stipe Miocic next. It's a great matchup to make, so I'll look forward to seeing Derrick Lewis make a comeback. Great performance by Derrick Lewis, getting himself the first round KO, and just a great card overall. I went 12 out of 13. I'm taking the Angela Hill win because it was a robbery. But yeah, 12 out of 13, not too bad. I picked Leavitt by sub, he got the sub. Mays by TKO, he got the TKO. Pennington by decision, she got the submission. Jourdain by TKO, he got the decision. Gatto by submission, she got the TKO with a body kick, crazily. Tafa by KO, he got it. Meerschaert, third round sub, he got it. Swanson by decision, he got the KO, weirdly. Gamrot by TKO in the third round, he got it in the second round. Simone by decision, got the submission. I mean, every fight overperformed. All the decisions were entertaining, other than Muhammad versus Thompson, because Belal Muhammad. But other than that, great fucking card, and I went 12 out of 13. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.